What's going on, guys? Dylan here. Today we'll be going over a ticker symbol analysis on the ticker symbol MSTR strategy, guys. Since seeing the confluence over the top of that weekly bull flag breakout, stock price surge until forming that bull flag in this very important range, getting that fake breakout 101 into a gap down phase. And now ultimately we have entered this newfound channel, which stock price has been solidified in, which will give us a lot of clues, guys, where stock price will go. With that being said, let's go jump into this technical analysis price prediction over on the weekly analysis. We're in a weekly bull flag continuation on the weekly analysis, guys. Starting in 2024, stock price rose up violently before entering a multi-month consolidation, getting that nice big wide bar to exit, signifying that there is serious buying pressure within this channel exit. Since then, guys, stock price rose, forming the pole of the flag until entering another flag-like pole. This one being more sloping, but it's the same thing, guys. Same price target, same exact thing, right? So we've seen stock price descent in this flag for ultimately accumulating on the smaller time frames, right? Getting the breakout. And since we broke out of this, guys, at $320, we set three price targets on the channel: 400 bucks, 440, and 500. Why $500, may you ask? Well, first of all, it is a psychological level which is very, very prone to be hit, especially in these high-flying stocks like MicroStrategy. Second, if you take a 50% retracement off this flagpole-like structure, put it all the way to the bottom of this, that perfectly lines up with that $500 psychological level. So keep this in mind, guys. Despite all the recent candlesticks, every data point that stock continues to give us as far as the daily, weekly, and hourly analysis, we're in the grand scheme of things in this weekly bull flag continuation. If we zoom in a little bit more closely to the current candles, we do see that that confluence zone we've continued to mention really ever since this inverted hammer candle over here has picked up some steam, guys. If you show all drawings, you see that that's a very heavy confluence zone, right? Having one wick here, one body, one wick, one wick, one body, two body, and now we're taking off. So as of now, the last two candles, we see an inverted hammer candle, which is green, and another inverted hammer candle, which is red. These two signify indecision within the market, as the sellers did shove stock price down, but the buyers did push it up a little bit. Overall, more seller pressure within that, but considering the context that we are starting to get that lift off of this support zone, it definitely does look pretty good on the weekly. As stock price does move within phases, guys, right? We move up and then we move down. And it does appear that this is the spot where we're starting to curl up, but stock price is getting a little bit shaky, right? A little bit of indecision. So that's what we're currently seeing as of now. The sellers are threatening to push stock lower to find a new low to bounce off of. But as of now, looking at the weekly analysis, not a whole lot we can look at, guys. So this is a good time for us to go pivot over to the daily. On the daily time frame, guys, the elephant in the room, doesn't take a rock science to tell you that, has been this very, very important level. We've continued to mention all the way from this point, guys. Stock price had a very, very nice movement until running into that $400 psychological resistance level, right? Once, twice, starting to pull back, crept right back up and gapped up into that zone. Since then, guys, it really was a battle, just trying to hold it. We come down, bounce, bounce, bounce. Looks like we're gonna, break down from that. We immediately bounce, push up into this flag-like structure, right? We did mention this is a false breakdown when it happened, and we gapped down. Something notable is that when we did gap down, I mean, this is the time for short-term sellers to, step in the market. Buyers have had a couple month phase of being very, very strong. And now you have a clear 101 false breakout, which does offer a lot of risk reward for the sellers. But ultimately, guys, that really just did lead into more consolidation. They weren't really able to push stock price too much lower at all from this. Since then, we did confluence within the support, right? Bounce back up. And within last video on this hammer candle, we mentioned that we are looking very, very good leading into tomorrow as we bounced from the support level and then came right back down, showing a double bottom, right, formation, and more importantly, a higher low, being that we had this highlighted arrow, and we did see the follow-through, guys. Pretty nice movement until ultimately being short-lived, and we've seen some thin candles over the top. And as of now, guys, it does appear that, we came back down to the support once again, and we bounced. So, as of now, it is a very interesting image on the daily. If we zoom in a little bit closer, we can see that over the last 3 days, of course, the sellers have been in control, being that they did reject stock at this very, very important resistance level. Once we get over the top of this big body bar with some strength, which we weren't able to in the past, you see we come to this area, we wick down. We come to this area, we wick out. We wick out, we wick out, wick out one more time, guys. So if we take this ascending trend line and move it all the way down, something very, very interesting and notable, guys, is that this does coincide with this former level, guys. We had 1, 2, 3, 4 perfect touch points in the past ascending perfectly. Where does that line up? Exactly with this, guys. So this channel is very, very solidified. If you see a sharp movement to the downside, right, we still have this support being that 368, 373 zone, which you've been mentioning ever since we've gotten that area over here. And we've seen it's been strong, guys, but this channel is very, very solidified. So if we do break down under the low of day being 370, 350, guys, that is the area where we expect sellers to have some strength. So, although we do have support in this area, guys, tread with caution. Is there a possibility we do get that wick out where stock price comes down and then knifes back up to trap sellers? Yes, but preferably for a buyer here, you want to see this channel being held as it's just very historic level in the past. On the hourly channel, guys, you get a great representation of how key this ascending this ascending channel really is, guys, right? Stock price moves up to the top, base out at this red box resistance and this ascending trend line, which formed over here. And then we knife down. We come to the floor and we bounce, right? Come to the ceiling, momentarily false break over that resistance level before knifing down, trying for a third time, and we did get knocked down right at that level, guys. So obviously there is a lot more support closer to this floor, being that we're, roughly about 80% to this channel structure. So once again, guys, maybe a little bit of short-term downside to come until we ultimately bounce around that 375 zone. With that being said, though, on the hourly, guys, we are seeing this descending channel come out into play, which we have been tracking over the course of the last few weeks. Ever since starting this initial gap down right on the daily, guys, we gap down with this big body bar right there. We mentioned that we formed a double bottom into this descending channel, guys, which did get moved a little bit. My trend line did get moved right there. You see we have many touch points, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just a lot of confirmation. Once we break that descending channel, we rip up. What did we mention in the last video, guys? We're forming a higher low. Let's go highlight this as we did have the arrow there. We're forming a higher low, bullish divergence, trapping these sellers right at the end of this resistance. We mentioned that if that does get broken, expect upside to test these upper levels. What happened? We broke out, and within that same hour, we came down, tested this level, bounced, and had that upside, guys. What we're seeing on the hourly is that there potentially is a little bit of more micro short-term downside to come, but in the grand scheme of things, guys, we are in this ascending channel moving up. With that being said, guys, that's really all we're getting out of the hourly. So let's go flip over to Bitcoin, being that there is a lot of, back and forth energy on MicroStrategy. So let's go to Bitcoin to fill that gap. Be flipping red to green. And that's what we mentioned in the last video, guys. Being that if we get that strong close over $106,000, you could see a huge movement as we have all of these short sellers trying to, predict this drop in this very, very heavy resistance, being that we squeezed out to the downside. And we did see that, guys. You've seen the short sellers exit their position when we got the strong close over 106,000 and new traders and investors re-emerging within the market once that level broke with this nice big movement, guys. But it is pretty abnormal to see the party stop as it did. And it's kind of been the trend over the last few weeks, guys. Once again, we mentioned over here, we break the $106,000 clean, we'll see a nice movement. And we've seen it, right? A very nice movement. But once again, it was short-lived. So we're seeing sellers emerge where over the last few weeks, they haven't really, over the last few months rather, they haven't really been too present in Bitcoin. So dropping all the way back down to this breakout level, which we did in the past, breakout, right? And breakout here. You got to wonder, simple as this, guys, if this level holds, there's some good risk to reward to continue this bounce up, at least attempt to give it a relief bounce to reclaim these highs and approach it. But if we hard reject underneath this $106,000 level clean, with some liquidity, we should be moving back down lower to 103,000. It is a little bit choppy as you've seen a false breakout, right? Into a breakout, a false breakdown, into a breakout, into a false breakout. Just a lot of back and forth energy, not as cut clear dry as Bitcoin typically can be. So as of now, considering that the sellers have led the dance over the last few days, forming these three strong weekly, sorry, wicks over the top, right? A pretty hard rejection. I mean, picture perfect flip. You know, if we hold this level, things look good. You have to remain bullish. Let's zoom out. When in doubt, zoom out. We're still in this very nice bullish movement. Flipping over the weekly, we're in a weekly bull flag continuation, right? Bull flag here, breakout. Bull flag here, breakout, which we mentioned on the channel when it did break out at that 80,000 rough level, 85K. So we're still moving in the right direction, guys, but seeing some weakness in this very, very obvious spot where previously we did enter a retracement phase. You got to wonder, guys, you want to see $106,000 pull. And it's as simple as that, guys. If we break $106,000 clean, very, very clean, you know, with some seller pressure strong, we should be moving lower to this next zone. Simple as that, guys. Let's keep it that simple. If Bitcoin cannot hold $106,000, it is very likely that we'll see MicroStrategy dip within the short term, potentially challenging the bottom of this ascending channel, right? As simple as that, guys. We've kept an eye on 106,000 over the last few weeks, and we've seen big action to the up and down. If $106,000 gets flushed out, guys, we should see MicroStrategy moving down into the next few days. Really as simple as that, guys. Keep an eye on Bitcoin here at $106,000. You guys enjoyed the video, consider like, subscribing. We will be going over MicroStrategy about 1 to 2 times per week. With that being said, have a good day. Take care and peace.